Alright, so just wanted to do a quick video to challenge Tea Partiers to find a country that has the type of limited government, super low taxes, and yet has a vibrant economy, a thriving middle class, and that has all the protections our country has. Because thinking about this, I was looking at countries and their debts versus their gross domestic product. And there aren't a whole lot of countries that have lower debt levels as a percentage of their gross domestic product that I'd want to live in. All the countries that I was looking at, places in Europe, Italy was, I think, the European country closest to us as far as debt levels. They're at 101%, basically meaning that if they use all their GDP for 1 year, they would pay off the vast majority of their debt. Our ratio is like 92 or 94%. This is Wikipedia. Great Britain's is awful. It's like 400%. Great Britain holds over $9 trillion in debt, and they are a substantially smaller country than us. But I think Tea Partiers are chasing after this unicorn. You know, it'd be a fantastic country if, you know, we all had freedom of speech, we had a great infrastructure, our roads were all paved, bridges, our schools were adequately funded, and we weren't paying, you know, high taxes. But the fact is that when you have a country as big as this, and we've kind of agreed via this social, you know, contract and social construction that there are certain things that we think Americans are entitled to, education, freedom of speech, police protection, all those types of things. There's a cost associated with that. So really what I think a lot of conservatives and a lot of Tea Partiers need to be advocating for is A, a balanced budget, and B, not smaller government, but smaller government. We need to look at, you know, where is our education system failing our students? A lot of times it's in low-income areas where kids are underprivileged and their school's not being adequately funded. So I think smarter spending is more important than less spending. And I'm sorry, I don't agree with the premise that it's patently unfair for people who are making millions and billions of dollars that they shouldn't have to pay more in taxes. A lot of times they're making that money. If you look at Walmart or, you know, most large corporations, they're making that money on the backs of people who are making significantly less money. And so, you know, is it, you know, a struggling mother of, you know, two, single mother, should she be paying the same taxes for infrastructure and education that, you know, Walmart's paying? I mean, they are arguably deriving a much greater profit. She's just surviving. That's all she's doing. You know, so it's hard for me. I mean, I'm a champagne socialist, but it's hard for me to see when, you know, we're talking about tax cuts for people making over $250,000 a year. It's hard for me to see those people as hurting. People making over $250,000 a year are able to buy, you know, a nice house, have relatively new cars. I mean, of course, it'd be great if they were able to drive around in, you know, Lamborghinis. It'd be great if we could all do that. But, you know, our tax structure, our social programs are there for the middle class. People who, like my family, who were upper middle class, and then circumstances changed, and suddenly we're down, maybe not even middle class at all, maybe lower, under middle class. So, I mean, circumstances can change, and that's why we need basic safety nets. Such as, you know, unemployment, Medicare, Medicaid, and health care coverage. I mean, there are places, I think we'll look back on the early, you know, this decade and maybe the next one in the future, and think, what were they thinking about? Because this country has undergone such radical changes that it's hard for me to accept the argument that somehow our country should remain static in its construction. You know, this country is a social construction. It is what we make of it. And, you know, in the last 200 years, we've abolished slavery and given women the right to vote and desegregated. So change is possible, and it's often for the better. I think, you know, we're talking about massive social change. I haven't seen negative social change in recent history, you know, as far as equality. And that's getting on to gay marriage, which is a whole other topic. But, yeah, it's okay for change to happen. It can be good. It can be great. And in the case of healthcare reform, it can save your life. I was reading an article today about how a guy who was in a bad electrical accident and like burned off his face because he was able to get onto his parents' health insurance under Obamacare. He's able to afford the prescription drugs, the anti-rejection drugs. So literally, Obamacare is giving this man a face back. He will have lips and a nose via face transplant. And so we've got to just make sure we're thinking holistically and not just, you know, what's best for a certain small set of people. Because, I mean, that's part of the whole societal contract, is what's good for all of us. If we were just doing what's good for people as individuals, we'd probably have an oligarchy or some other form of, you know, representation in government and tools for affecting social change. But anyways, just thought I'd challenge any Tea Partiers out there to, you know, maybe show a country that has our same freedoms and luxuries and opportunities with the sort of small government, low taxes. I mean, literally, I think under the smaller government, you know, provision, I think schools would, you know, start to crumble, because we've grown. As people add, you have to spend more money. And we are spending more money per person on education than ever before. And we need to look at if that's being done efficiently. Are the kids in the most need being handled? Or a lot of times money is, you know, based on property taxes. So the new schools get put into the rich areas where kids maybe already have a leg up. So some thoughts to consider.